Nichols. I'm from Alabama. I live by the beach. I'm 23 years old, and I joined the gap year program to really immerse myself in Spanish and kind of take a break from the work and school life. So it's not like a traditional gap year situation, but still equally as fun, and I had a great time. So that's me. Take it away, Paige.
Alrighty. Hi, everyone. My name's Paige. I'm 20. I'm from San Diego, California. And I decided to join the GAP program. Honestly, similar to Bryce. Bryce was a little more focused on the Spanish part, and it's a great opportunity to learn a lot. But I was really focusing on growing myself by myself, away from my friends and my family. And I thought I did exactly that on the little 3.5 months that I went. So nice to meet everybody.
Awesome. And
thank you, guys. So are you ready for questions, or should I start? If someone has a question, unmute yourselves and fire ahead. Okay, so Bryce, my first question is for you. What are the top 10 experiences that you would highlight for the guys coming in the spring?
Top 10 experiences. You can't not mention all of the physical activity that we did. So if you like surfing, if you like mountain biking, if you like hiking, you can do all of those things. And a lot of it was a first time situation for me. So like the Camino de Santiago, we got to mountain bike. That was a really fun situation. You get to hang out with the other gappers, talk, you stop in really pretty places and have lunch, and then you keep biking. We went surfing on the coast of France. That was awesome. So those were some of my top moments. I also really like the cooking classes. We did a few cooking classes to learn about the traditional dishes in different places. That would be my number 2. Number 3, I would say, is the free time you have to just check out all the cities that you see. So we got a lot of time to go shopping or just make friends or go try new foods. So I definitely love that. And I won't do 10 to kind of keep it short. I'll go to 5. My number 4, I would say, is meeting so in every city that we go to, we kind of have like a cultural guide, and they kind of take you in, they host you and teach you about the local culture, the history. So that was my number 4, meeting all of those guys and kind of making some new friends. And then my number 5, the host families. I really, really enjoyed my stays with the host families. And you actually take a survey to kind of get paired up with people who match your interests. And I think my host families were perfect for me. So I really loved that situation.
Thank you. Fantastic. And Paige, second question, unless you guys stop me, I'm going to keep going. So feel free to unmute yourself or type in the chat if you prefer. Yeah. Paige, my next question is about your Spanish. How was your Spanish before you before you came to Spain? And how's your Spanish now?
Okay, so Bryce has been waiting for this question. So I only had 2 years of Spanish under my belt. I did 2 years in high school, my freshman and sophomore year. So I had a little bit of experience, but it had been a lot of time. So when I went there, I was really nervous, in all honesty, because Bryce, for an example, he had a lot more practice with Spanish, but it's actually a really good balance of students if you have some people that have more experience rather than others. And you're fully immersed. Everywhere you go, you're going to hear Spanish. Your leaders speak Spanish, but also if you're confused, you have an answer right there to help you. So I feel like my Spanish has improved greatly, actually. I was in 2 host families that did not speak any English at all. So I definitely had to adapt, but I'm really grateful for that because I learned a lot more than I thought I would. And I have some Spanish speaking friends back home. So now they've been testing me on my ability to speak. But yeah, I think I improved greatly.
Thank you. Muchas gracias, Paige. And yeah, I second that. Your Spanish has greatly improved. Very much so. And Bryce's. Bryce, tell us a little bit about your experience with Spanish. You had very clear goals.
I guess beforehand, I was a textbook type of student when it came to Spanish. So I could speak, but it was stuff that you learn from class or from YouTube, I guess. And then once you get there every day and you start talking with locals, you start to sound like a local. You pick up cultural things and historical things, and your Spanish starts to become a lot more natural. So that's what I can say. I think I improved a lot on sounding more natural.
Hang on, we'll let Claire in. Hi, Claire. Can you hear us? This is super. A lovely bunch of people. Thank you for connecting on a Saturday right before Christmas. You guys are wonderful. It's brilliant. So have you got your list of questions already, guys? Can I call out someone? Leora, go for it.
Hi. What would you guys say, I guess, was like the biggest, like the most challenging part, and what did you do to like overcome that or adjust to it? Either of you.
Bryce, do you want to answer? I got it. I have some things on my mind.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead? I'll follow you.
Okay. So for me, I had never really been too far away from home. I was going to San Diego State University, which was 15-20 minutes at most from my home. So I was really nervous about missing my family and my friends. So to overcome that, you're constantly busy and you're surrounded by great people. I mean, yes, the first few days are very nerve-wracking because you're with a new group, but as the trip progresses, you become basically like a little family with them, which is really great. So to get through that, Aransha is great support. She realized one day I was feeling a little homesick and she was like, if you want to talk to me, you can. And so I had some little moments here and there, but to get through it, you were surrounded by a great support system. And not to mention you're in an entire new different country and it's amazing. So yeah, that's probably the best way I got around my difficulty.
I would say one of the things that I struggled the most with is getting accustomed to living in a big group. I'm an only child, kind of introverted. I work from home, so I don't have to talk to too many people. My school is online, so just adjusting to living with 6 people or 5 people, it's kind of a challenge, but it starts to get fun after a few weeks, and you get to know them, you start to trust them, and you can open up. And you have all the time in the world and all the resources. So it starts to become a really cool thing. You just have to adjust. So that was one of my biggest transitions that I made.
Okay. Who's next? Hi, Claire. Hi, Parker. Lovely to see you. Where are you calling from today? Yeah.
We're in New York City right now. We were visiting friends from our last trip, and so we're just hanging out here.
Brilliant. Okay, where were you for the fall?
We went to Ecuador and Peru.
So these have already been practicing Spanish.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely trying.
Excellent. And guys, are you curious about anything in particular? We have Bryce here. You missed the brief intro, but Bryce and Paige just came back from our fall program around Spain. So they're here to answer all of your questions.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much. We'll let you know if we have any.
Super. Okay.
I have one. So with living in groups, was there ever any sort of quarrels or anything? And if so, how did those go about getting resolved?
I'll start off. So honestly, thankfully we had a really great group of kids, or adults actually. So there was only 2 boys and 4 girls. Yeah, 4 girls. So it was pretty balanced. We had little spats here and there, usually in regards to like dishes or cleaning up, because there was a point that we were living together for 3.5 weeks. I think that was the longest we stayed together, if I believe. But other than that, I think we all got along pretty well. I guess the key thing is just communication. I definitely learned a lot about that later on in the trip, talking to Bryce. And we were like, these things could have been solved so much easier if we just communicated better. So I think that's a really good thing that this trip provided, because if you're not used to living with people, it definitely gives you a great opportunity to get to know people, but also learn about yourself and how to communicate if there is an issue or whatever that may be. But thankfully, we didn't have anything crazy.
Yeah, I definitely have to second that. There was never any problems that couldn't be solved, and we just had to learn how to communicate with each other, because in the beginning, you don't really speak each other's languages. You're all from different places, and when I say languages, I don't mean like Spanish and English. But once you start to get to know each other, there's no big problems. It's all respect and it's all communication.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
We have our friends from Peace Arts logging in. Hello and welcome. You are calling from Aruba.
Hi, yes. We are based in New York. We're doing a gap year program in New York. But yes, I'm in Aruba right now because we're looking at doing another location here in the future.
Lucky you. Enjoy that very much. It looks like paradise.
Yes, it's beautiful. It is.
Wonderful. Well, you're most welcome. Okay, who's next? Catherine, you can jump in at any time as well. Don't be shy. Okay, well, one thing that I wanted to bring up was the train. Obviously, the program is called Spain by Train. I don't know how much experience you guys have traveling by train, but Paige and Bryce have some. So Paige, would you like to tell us your train experience around Spain?
Sure. So honestly, the trains are quite nice. I didn't really mind traveling on them. It's a great way to get around and it goes really fast. There was some train rides that were a little bit longer, so that was a little tough, but if you can sleep and have your snacks and your lunch and stuff, so passing time isn't a problem. Also, I found it to be a great opportunity to actually get to know some of the other gappers that I was with. I don't remember who I was first sat with. I think it was this girl in my group, Indy, and I didn't really know her too well. And then we got sat next to each other on the train, and it was like a 3.5-hour train ride. So it was a great opportunity to talk to everybody, and bring cards. Please bring cards so you have something to do, or download movies. That's good too. But other than that, it wasn't too bad. Also, not to mention the views are amazing. You go through mountain towns and through different cities and near beaches, so you get some really great views. So yeah.
And Bryce, what about the sustainability aspect of the program?
In general, or are we referring to just the trains?
Oh, in general, the sustainable development goals that we reflect about and that we take action on.
Okay, so this is kind of a huge question. So everything that you do on the trip is based in sustainability. So when you're living together, you're going to be doing cooking, and you'll be focusing on avoiding food waste and shopping ethically and responsibly. So you're going to be going to like local markets, finding things that aren't so expensive, and really just being conscious of the way you prepare your food. And aside from that, you also do a lot of stimulating the local economy. So when I mentioned staying in host families, that's a huge thing for the local economies to the different cities that you go to, because you're providing people with work. Even all of the activities that you do, you're actively employing people. So it's a really cool thing that you don't even notice unless somebody calls it out. So that's another thing. And we spend a lot of time learning how to take the metros in the bigger cities. And that's great for sustainability because you don't have to take cars or taxis. So, oof, and I can't leave this one out. I actually missed this activity, but you go and you plant trees you sponsor trees to offset your carbon footprint from the flights that you take. And that's a really big deal. So there's a lot of cool ways that you engage in sustainability during the trip.
Any comments? Anybody? Any burning questions?
I guess I have a comment, not much as a question, but I come from a place where I've taken the train a lot in my life. So I'm curious to like compare how different systems of transit, especially by train, work. So
Where are you?
Oh, sorry, Paige, go ahead.
I was just wondering, where are you from?
I'm from like the Boston area. So, or here the train's called the T, but I've also taken like the Amtrak, which is like longer trains to different cities around the US.
I think you'll adjust just fine because I'm from a place where public transportation is horrible. You can't take buses and there are no trains. And I think with the help of the group, I picked it up pretty well enough to do it by myself. So I think you'll adjust.
You'll see differences in the different regions. So in the north, we have good trains up to Vitoria, and then we have very old trains, which is very cool to travel on as well, because as Paige said, I mean, it's a slower pace, but we learn from slower pace as well. And then when we're in the south, we have very developed high-speed trains. So that's a completely different experience, a wonderful one as well. But it's interesting to see how many kilometers we cover in 6 hours from south to north, and how many we cover in a little portion of the north, which is basically the same amount of hours. So we see a lot of differences, and we reflect on those as well, and how that reflects on the local economy as well. Okay.
I have a question. Oh, sorry, really quickly. How was the language barrier? I don't know where you guys like came in with your Spanish before the trip, but how was the language barrier with the homestays at the beginning of the trip when you were still kind of like in the beginning of the Spanish lessons and all of that, kind of just the communication piece?
Bryce, you want to start it off, or would you like me to?
I think it might be better if you start because
Okay.
yeah, I came in
For
pretty
sure.
comfortable.
Yeah. So I don't know really the levels that everybody's at in this group. But for me, I think you came in the meeting a little bit later, but I was saying that I have 2 years of Spanish in high school that I did. So not very many experiences, but I live close to San Diego, so the Spanish is definitely different than in Spain for sure. But when I went with my host families, the first one in Salamanca, that was the first one. So I was very scared. And my host family did not speak any English. Thank God we have phones, because I definitely had to use some translating apps. But as time went on, we were there for almost 3 weeks, I believe. And and it got pretty comfortable. You learn how to ask for basic needs, but also as you get to know them, you get to talk to them about your life and their life and actually share some really cool moments. My birthday, I celebrated with them, so that was really fun. And then the second stay for me was a lot easier. Obviously, I had more Spanish under my belt. So it made things definitely easier, but it's the not knowing that helps you learn a lot more. And so I'm really grateful for both family stays, and I think you'll all adapt just fine. I believe you will, because I did, and I was really scared. So I think you'll do great.
Yeah, if you've never stayed in a host family, honestly, the language barrier isn't going to be a big deal. I think the biggest barrier is just learning. The first few days are really awkward because you're almost too polite because you're not comfortable at all. And then once you start to work out, you know, okay, I can help with the dishes, or I feel comfortable enough to ask for another blanket, then the language barrier starts to ease up a little bit. So eventually it's not too big of a problem at all.
Thank you. Okay, Catherine. Sorry, was there a question, guys?
Yeah, I have a question. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. I did a gap year in Argentina many years ago, and yes, the language barrier. It's funny when you get to when you first go into a place, and after you start to get to know them. But I stayed really close to my house mom for like 8 years. We like always stayed in touch, and when I would visit, I would go and see her Chi. So it's like really awesome. I remember when I was doing the gap year, like each one of us had a different experience with our host families. Is there a certain way that you guys go about vetting families who want to be host families, or how do people get involved in becoming host families?
So for us, we have been working with the same pool of hosts since 2016, since before pandemic. And so in each area, we collaborate with a partner school that vets the families for us. So we go through a process of background checking. That's first and foremost. And then we do home visits every year. So one of our staff visits the family and make sure that the family situation is still as it was the previous year, that the space is comfortable and welcoming for the students coming in. And then, of course, we do matches as well as we can. Bryce mentioned this earlier, that we interview all the gappers prior to arrival, so we can match them with families that are most suited to them. So if we have night owls who sleep until who go to sleep very late, Paige is laughing. So we do our best to match people with similar routines or who can complement each other as best as possible. Regarding people who are more comfortable playing with a lot of young kids, or people who are more comfortable living with an older couple who has grown up children and whatnot. Did that answer, Dominic? Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Super.
Yes, I always think to myself how like lucky I was when I met my house mom, and like I was like, this is so cool. Like this is the best. So like doing trips myself, it's like the same process of working with someone else and then vetting them and stuff. But it's always cool to hear from other programs, like how do you go about.
No, the relationships that get built sometimes are stunning and completely heartwarming. I mean, are you guys planning on staying in touch, Bryce, Paige?
Yeah, I actually was just talking to her the other day. I had been meaning to reach out to her, and I was like, I was missing her. We ended up getting pretty close, which I'm really grateful for. And yeah, I text her here and there, but she was like, if you ever come back, she's like, you have a house to stay at. So I'm really grateful for that relationship that I built with her, for sure.
Aside from just updates on comfortably making it back to the States, I haven't really kept in touch too much with my host family, but they did, like Paige, they extended the invite. If I ever come back to Spain, I have a place to stay, so I'm grateful.
And in terms of support systems, I mean, of course, when you come to Spain, you have our team, you have your peers, but I think your host families are definitely an essential part of the support system. You spend a lot of time with them, and there are moments where you need a family, and you have a family, right? For all or most of our gappers, your host families have been very, very close for you, right?
Yeah, I wanted to actually, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Paige, go ahead.
Okay, I actually wanted to touch on that. So when I was in Salamanca, I had a sinus infection, so I was kind of sick. And my host family, they were bringing me soup in bed and giving me all these medications, so it felt like a home away from home. And then in Granada, I had a little back problem. I'm an old lady. And my my host mom was very sweet. She was bringing me a bunch of stuff. So it does feel like a little family, which is really cool. Sorry, now on to you, Bryce. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to add to that as well, just to show you guys the support system. One night we were in the kitchen, we were cooking, and we talked about just missing our families. And I brought up that I hadn't had a hug in a few months. And so we all started hugging in the kitchen and just kind of sharing funny stories. So you have your support system there, and it's not just the gappers, it's also the other staff who are helping out. If you ever need to go to the doctor, Arancha's our official translator. If you ever need anything culturally, you have tons of people to reach out to. So the support system is definitely there.
Thank you, guys. Thanks so much. Any more questions? Lucy, any burning questions from Vermont?
I feel like you both did a really good job of touching my questions, because I guess two of the things that I've been feeling really nervous about is the language barrier and host family. But just hearing you talk about that, I feel a little bit more confident. Except I am still really nervous about the language barrier because I only know like a few words in Spanish. So I guess maybe a question would be, do you feel like, maybe this is more for Paige, but did you ever feel like you might have missed something with not knowing a lot of Spanish, or like, I don't really know how to explain it, but yeah, I guess.
No, I get what you're saying for sure. So that's actually a really good question. I don't believe that I felt like I missed out on opportunities or anything, because in the beginning of the trip, you definitely go on tours and they're speaking to you in Spanish, so it's a lot. But since Arantxa is there and there's other leaders that speak English, it's pretty great because they can translate it back to you if you're not understanding. I actually had a conversation, there's another guy in our group, and he didn't have much Spanish experience, and he was saying that he was like, thank God, like there's leaders that spoke Spanish, because he was like, I wouldn't have understood it in the beginning, like, you know, certain tours and stuff. But for the most part, I don't believe so. No, I don't think you're going to be missing out on any opportunities or experiences because of your lack of understanding of Spanish. Not to mention there are leaders that will slow down when you ask them to. So I think if that is something that you're worried about, it's not that big of a deal. You'll adapt quite fast, and yeah, I don't think I missed out on anything because of my lack of Spanish. No.
Okay, that's good to know. Thanks.
And some of you guys have other support languages, right? You have an experience with a different foreign language that isn't Spanish. Some people in the group speak French, right? Raise your hand. Can you let me know if you speak a different language? Yeah, Lucy, you speak French, right?
Yeah, I took it for a few years, so I know a little bit, but yeah.
So the advantage of knowing another language, and we had a situation like this in our fall group as well. One of our guys, one of the girls didn't speak Spanish, pretty much a zero, right? L, and she can well speak Spanish now. She's got a very solid intermediate level going home now. She had an extra language, and being bilingual in another language is a great help already. So if you've had any experience whatsoever with French, with German, with any other language, that's a great help. But as Paige said, it's a progression, it's a process, and as you're fully immersed and you have staff and peers to help you, because there will be peers who speak at a higher level than yourself who can help you get there. And our staff aren't shy with using English. It's not like we forbid anyone from using it. You can use it as support at the beginning, and you'll use it less and less. You'll not have a problem for accessing Spanish in the beginning, though.
I have a real quick question. For the two kids who went, what was something that you packed that you felt was either really useful or really comforting, like something that you were really, really thankful that you brought with you?
So yeah. For me, I brought my travel pillow, which is very important. I love to sleep. So on the train, that was a great thing for me. Definitely bring, oh my gosh, what are they called? Sleeping masks. If you can, that's really, really important. But also there was a girl in my group that brought like a little blanket from home that reminded her of her room and her family. So maybe just pack something small if possible. My suitcase was stuffed to the brim, so if you can fit something though that reminds you of home, or something that's, I guess for me, the travel pillow, something like that, that's really useful for sure.
And I guess I could say, aside from like the practical stuff, like clothes that you really like, because you're gonna be wearing the same thing for a while. One thing I brought was some cologne that I really love, and the smell kind of like, it makes me think of just being home and being comfortable. And anytime that we were in a new place and I was feeling a little displaced, I could put it on and kind of get that sense of comfort again. So I don't know if you guys are similar, but I like smells, so that was a good one for me.
I guess kind of on like the flip side of that question, what's your favorite thing that you took home from the program that you got while you were there?
I feel like this is a perfect question for Joey. There's a girl in our group that brought like the entire everything from Spain. For me, I would like to say, okay, well, I love to shop, so I got some clothes here and there from places in Spain. But one of my favorite things that I took, I believe, was it got kind of crumpled, but I'm getting it fixed. Arantxa, I think I told you when we were in Victoria, there was like this little stand that was filled with paintings that this guy did by hand. And it was a little cathedral from a part in Victoria. So I brought that back all the way. And Victoria was like our first stop. So I carried that for 3.5 months. But yeah, I think that was probably my favorite thing that I brought back.
I have this book. We went to the Guggenheim in Bilbao in the north of Spain, and I love the Guggenheim in New York. So I got the book that has all of the paintings and exhibits that you see. I guess it's like a book guide, and I didn't want anything huge, so that was one thing that I brought back. and I love it. I got it in 3 different languages, actually.
Eliza, Victor, do you have any questions? Anything you're curious about?
I don't know if this has been answered yet, but I was sort of curious about sort of like the daily life, like day-to-day stuff going on.
You said something about daily life, right? It skipped out for me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have too much good service.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So daily life, it kind of depends on where you are, but there's a lot of activities, so you're never bored, which is definitely a good thing. But I guess for an example, when we were in Victoria, we had more of like a routine. We did do tours and stuff, but we also had time to go shopping for dinner. I had time to work out with one of the guys in the group, also explore by yourself. But I would say it mainly consists of, depending on the region, an activity of some sort, either school or time with your host family, and then being able to go out on your own, go to a cafe, go to a bookstore. That's usually how it went for me. I think, I don't know, Bryce, what do you think?
You really just have to take advantage of your time. So there's going to be an itinerary that shows you, we're doing this at X time, and then you have these hours to relax or go shopping. So Aranta's going to tell you a billion times, check the drive, check the schedule. But actually do it, because if you let your time get away from you, you're kind of going to be dragged through your day. But if you wake up and take advantage of it, then you'll have time to do everything that you want to do and enjoy the activities. So.
I have to ask this one on behalf of Dominic, because she does a dance program. How many dances did you learn throughout the program?
Are you talking about like when we do the program?
No, I was asking the guys, Paige and Bryce, just so you can hear of the dances that they learned. I won't show you videos, guys.
We learned enough. We learned enough dances. No, I'm kidding. It was really cool. We learned, oh wow, we learned a decent amount. Bryce, how many would you say? Like, I don't know, 5?
Just to name some, we learned some traditional Basque dances, flamenco. I think we did some kind of tap dancing. We did a lot of dancing. So just try to get into it. You're gonna enjoy it.
For sure. I was actually surprised there was a guy in our group that got into it. And I was like, okay, it's a really good opportunity to see people break out of their shells. Not to mention you get to see an actual dancer doing a traditional dance like right in front of you, and they're absolutely amazing. So that was really cool.
And just to throw in one more specifics, in terms of history, guys, what did you know before and what do you know now? Do you feel that your perspective about Spanish culture and history has changed, evolved?
Big time. Before I came to Spain, I kind of saw Spain. People have this connotation of Africa as being like just one big place when it's a ton of countries. Spain, I don't know if you've shared the same viewpoint, but when you start to travel through Spain, you learn that it's a vastly diverse place. There's tons of languages, there's tons of cultures, there's areas where they don't really prefer Spanish, even though it's Spain. So you get to learn a lot about the culture and even the historical context. Like when you go to Victoria, you learn about their history of being an autonomous zone and how their language is not related to Spanish at all. So you're going to learn a lot of really important history.
Yeah, I think Bryce touched on a lot of it for sure. in all honesty, I didn't really know much about Spain before arriving. I'm actually kind of disappointed in that. I didn't really learn much about Spain in school. I'm so close to Mexico, so we learned a lot about what's happening in Mexico. But I definitely learned a lot more just about how much pride people take in their culture. It's so culturally diverse, which is amazing. And I kind of had a naive perception, I guess, of Spain before I arrived. I thought everybody was just like, oh, there's like, they're from Spain, like they're all the same, but that's just totally wrong. Everybody's so different depending on the region. Not to mention you get to learn about the history. You'll learn about ETA. So that was really a powerful experience for me, for sure. So yeah.
And architecture, right? We've seen so many different styles, and we've basically traveled through history by being in different buildings, Moorish, Romantic, Gothic. It's just stunning, if I do say so myself. Very good, guys. Any other questions that you have? Or else I have one more and we can wrap it up. I won't keep you any longer. Anyone? Any specifics? No? So my question to you guys, Paige and Bryce, is what are the biggest takeaways you bring home, the intangible ones?
Bryce, do you want to go or do you like me to go first?
I'll jump in.
Okay, go for it.
So one of the intangibles that you take home is you develop a huge confidence in just being a young adult. You're traveling through these cities and you're learning how to navigate internationally. You're doing a lot of adult things like shopping for yourself and washing your own clothes. It might be a first for some people, or it might be old for some people. But all the things that you do definitely gives you a confidence when you come home. You see the world totally differently. It's going to be strange the first few days when you come home.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's a great growing opportunity and a maturing opportunity. I like to look back. I had a journal that I kept throughout my trip, and it was really interesting the way I would talk about the trip early on in comparison to how it was ending, and just my way of thinking completely changed. Being in a foreign place gives you an opportunity to learn about yourself more than anything ever could. I am so grateful for the opportunity. I didn't really realize it until I was stepping off a plane in LA, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I'm back. And it gave me, I guess, just a wider perception of the world around me, how much there is to learn about people, cultures, also to connect with people that you may not have, ever connected with, and just get out of your comfort zone. And yeah, I'm forever grateful. I've expressed this before to Aransha, but I'd like to put it out there for everybody, because you never realize how much you're capable of until you've already done it or you're doing it. So yeah.
Yes, I've heard it before, but I love hearing it. Because I'm so proud of you guys. We're still having a moment a week later. It's really great to connect with you all, guys. You have our contact. If you want to ask questions later, if it didn't occur to you now, but you have questions, send them on through Instagram, through email. We're in touch already, and you have my WhatsApp as well. So anything at all, get in touch. Paige, Bryce, thank you so much. And the rest of you, have a lovely day and talk to you soon.
Nice meeting everybody.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you guys. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.